The 2000s was one of the best decades to be a part of, man. The music was going crazy when R&B, pop, punk, and hip-hop was taking over. Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, and Cartoon Network was in their prime, man. They was dropping hit shows left and right. And that's not even mentioning everything else with the movies, commercials, and just the overall vibe was just so... You know what I'm saying? There's just so much to talk about with the 2000s, which is why I prepared an almost 2-hour-long video all about it. With that being said, let's get into it. But before we do, welcome to my Childish Nature at Night, man. The best chill spot for the weekends. And if you end up enjoying this video, go hit subscribe, man. Let YouTube know I'm one of them. And with that being said, let's get into it.
Welcome to the kingdom.
2000s R&B. Where do I begin? This decade has given us some of the most beautiful music coming from the most legendary artists of our time. From Chris Brown, Mario, Neo, Life Jennings, Fantasia, Sierra, Beyonce, Alicia Keys, Jennifer Hudson. I could keep going, but then the video gonna be an hour long and I ain't trying to edit all that, man. The R&B and hip hop duels was still going crazy. Love was still in style, and with all that came powerful vocals that shine through every single track. And with this being the last decade R&B truly shined, I just wanted to put some light on it and talk about why I feel the magic of 2000s R&B is simply unmatched. Let's talk about it. Now, just on the intro, I was originally going to do a segment on the R&B and rap duos that was dominating back then. But although those were iconic, I feel like I'll be doing a huge misservice without speaking on the beats, the instrumentation. Because let's keep it a stack, most of the classics that we have back then wouldn't be classics without them. So let's just get into this, man. Now let me repeat myself. The beats of 2000s R&B was crazy, man. All thanks to the producers. We had the Neptunes, who gave us hits like Usher's You Don't Have to Call. We had Timbaland, who not only gave us Aaliyah's final few hits of the 2000s, but gave us one of Justin Timberlake's best songs, Until the End of Time. That song is cold. That song is cold. We had Jermaine Dupri, who gave us my favorite Mariah Carey song of all time, We Belong Together. And Scott Storch, who gave us Chris Brown's debut song, Run It, which is more of a hip-hop R&B fusion, but it's still R&B. And with these producers I mentioned, I feel we have 3 different sounds that were prominent in 2000s R&B instrumentation. Those 3 sounds I would like to dub as the simplistic bouncy sound, the real, and the glittery. Now the simplistic sound, I don't think it needs too much explanation. About 1 or 2 sounds in the melody, kick, snare, or snap, a couple things going on in the percussion. Not too much going on, but it still get the job done, still get things moving. Some of the best examples I could bring out is Where the Party At. Once again, We Belong Together. For the real, it's also self-explanatory. Real drums, real strings, real instruments. They're just really trying to make you feel something with these. Some of my favorites being Let's Stay Together, Sierra's N.I., and then the glittery sound. This one I gotta explain a little bit. The glittery sound is met with nice, soothing, calming instrumentals, on top of the singer being ever so slightly whispering to the beat. I just call it glitter because, simply put, if glitter had a sound, it would be this. Glitter songs are perfect for just chilling and vibing. You in your room, in your bed with your headphones on, you know what I'm saying, lights off, you just vibing. Or you in the car and you got your radio on just high enough to where you can hear their vocals and feel the kicks, and that's about it. That's what glitter sound is made for. Some of my favorite glitter songs being Janaea Aiko's Right Here or Promise Ring by Tiffany Evans. And with the instrumental bringing a vibe, only thing left was to bring them vocals. And 2000s R&B did just that. The singing of this decade was truly something to behold. These singers had range, runs, riffs, belts, whatever you need, man, they had it, man. Not only was it the range of these artists' voices, but the versatility into different types of voices that we had back then. Like I mentioned on the producer side, where we had different styles of beats, To match these different styles came different vocal ranges of artists. We had the soft singers like Sierra, Ashanti, Nevia. These artists may not have the vast vocal range like the others did, but what they lacked in one area, they made up for in another with their smooth, emotional, and feel-good vocals. And then you had the raw, raspy singers like Alicia Keys, Anthony Hamilton, Lyfe Jennings, Fantasia. Their voices might have came off a little rough, but that did not stop the range that these artists was able to tackle. The raspiness of their voices made whatever they were singing that much more heartfelt, that much more soulful. And then we have the more pop R&B singers who got more of a universal voice, being singers like Neo, Mario, Chris Brown, Rihanna. They got voices where you could tell they could sing, but they're not going too crazy with their vocals. They ain't going too out of whack with how they use their voice. They mostly just stay in a digestible, smooth manner. But even being set in these categories, they each got something unique about their voice that keeps you coming back to them specifically. Sierra's voice is way more soft and whispery, while Ashanti's is high-pitched and airy. Anthony Hamilton got pain in his voice, while Lyfe Jennings' voice is way more calm and collected. Chris' voice got some whine to it, while Mario's is way more fluttery. It's just these small little slight differences that make you want to go to these artists specifically instead of the other. And while we're talking about vocals of the 2000s, there's just one more category I cannot forget: white people. The white singers of the 2000s was different. We had Tanisha Kelly coming in with crazy vocals. JoJo coming in at the age of 13 sounding like a full-grown black woman. Elliot Will Wait For You. Oh man, that song hit different. That hit different. And even Pink. Yeah, some of y'all ain't know Pink was on a whole different wave back in the early 2000s, man. People for real thought she was light-skinned, and that's the crazy part. But even with these crazy voices of the 2000s, there would be nothing but gibberish without the subject matter that R&B was built off of. When love was still the forefront of R&B, when the belief and image of a true loving relationship still existed, was still spoken about. The love and relationships was talked about through all ends, through the little sweetheart songs about singing about your little crushes at school, little puppy love. These types of songs was really going crazy with the young artists like B2K, B5, Chris Brown. They was going stupid with them hits. Had you looking out the window of the school bus thinking about your crush. Then we had songs about that mature love, sticking it through with your partner, sticking it through the hardships, through the trials and tribulations. That's when Lyfe Jennings and Jaheim came into play. And you ain't never hear nobody sing their heart out like these two about staying together, man. And do not let me forget Pleasure P with Did You Wrong. That song is crazy. But sometimes it just don't work. And that's where the heartbreak songs come to play, man. Songs ranging from I Did You Wrong or You Did Me Wrong, begging for them to come back. And when I say begging, I mean there was no shame in getting on your knees and begging for your girl to come back, man. None. I mean, everybody had their fair share of heartbreak songs, but something that stick out to me is Mary J. Blige and Tyrese, because it's Tyrese. And the most important thing that I feel like I need to mention is that they was able to sing about all of this without being explicit. Yeah, they had the little freaky songs back then, but it was nothing too explicit to the point where there was nothing left to the imagination. Like, you would actually have to listen to know that they was actually talking crazy. And that's honestly a lost art nowadays. The art of singing about love without talking crazy. The art of singing about staying together instead of immediately trying to throw each other under the bus. And the art of singing about heartbreak without being extremely toxic for no reason. And this is why I appreciate 2000 R&B. They kept their feelings real, while at the same time still believing in love and singing about it, making you feel their words through your soul, and all with some assistance of some beautiful instrumentation. This is the magic of 2000 R&B. True art and true beauty. Songs from the 2000s you forgot existed. I'm talking about hit songs from back in the day that nobody seemed to remember. I'm talking about songs that deserved way more recognition than what they got. I'm talking about songs that opened the floodgates to memories that you forgot you had. I could keep going, but I don't want to. So without further ado, let's get into this video.
This your boy Soulja Boy Tell Them, relive the record Pickle Wiggly, and we finna do the evaluations of the lean with it.
Soulja Girl is one of the best songs by Soulja Boy that nobody talks about, man. It's almost like the whole world, including Soulja Boy, do their best to act like this song never happened. And me, myself, I just don't get it. Because it hit. I remember the first time I heard this song, man.
It was a late 2007. I was in my mom's room jumping on her bed, and I don't specifically remember what channel it was on. It could have been BET, it could have been MTV, I don't know. But whatever it was playing music. And I was just jumping around, not paying attention until this song came on, man. The song just caught my attention with its simple yet smooth beat, the angelic melody of the chorus, and then Soulja Boy. And ever since that day, this song has been stuck in my head. But for some reason, I've never heard this song in public. Not one car, not one radio station. I don't even think I've seen the video on TV outside of that one time. If I wanted to hear it, I'll go to YouTube. But when Soulja Boy did his verses with Bow Wow, I thought that would all change. I was thinking this dude was about to finally acknowledge this song's existence. But no, it didn't happen. Let me know in the comments, man. Am I the only person who messed with this song? Am I alone in this? Am I the only one who has a core memory with this song in their childhood?
We're all our MySpace friends. We got any MySpace friends out there? Make sure to hit up Paula Deonda on MySpace.
Paula Deonda, not too hard.
Everybody talk about Paula Deonda when it comes to Walk Away. And I get it. That song is cold, it's beautiful, it's a hit, all that. But what I want to know is, where's that same energy with Doing Too Much? Because this is the song I know Paula Deonda for. This is the song that got me hip to her. Now with Walk Away, you had a beautiful melody with some nice simple drums. But with Doing Too Much, they give you a little bit of both, with a cold melody and crazy drums. Outside of her singing, that's probably the main thing that draws me into this song, man. Them drums is hard. I don't care what anybody say, man, them drums hit. And then you layer a melody on top about being paranoid, and you got, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now I do have memories of hearing this song on the radio back in 2008, but I don't think it was getting played that long, because my memories with this song is very brief. I don't even think I saw the music video till years later. And I guess I wasn't the only one, because still to this day, if you bring up Paula Deonda, not too many people is gonna bring up Doing Too Much. And it's a shame because this song really is cold. Possibly even more cold than Walk Away. But nonetheless, shout out Paula Deonda for these two beautiful pieces of work, man.
Hey, I'm Taylor P. What's up? And I'm Kelsey, and we're the So Bosses, and this is 50.com. Hey.
Popping up in 2009, we have the Virtuoso Bosses with Delirious. And let me tell you about this song, man. This is one of my favorite songs of all time. There is no debate. My first time revisiting this song in modern day, I almost cried, man. It's beautiful. From the dreamlike melody to the angelic singing, the addicting percussion. This song is a certified masterpiece. They honestly didn't have to release anything else after this. This one song alone solidified them in the history books for me. And speaking of history, we can get into the history of this song a little bit, because the Delirious that we're all used to is not even the original one. The original Delirious featured no Soulja Boy, punchy drums, and just an overall rougher mix. The original music video got them in a school setting, riding a bus and all that. So yeah, I guess this is before the label picked the song up and polished it into what we know today. Now, not only is this song relatively forgotten about, but the Virtuoso Bosses in general are mostly forgotten to time. And I guess it kind of makes sense since these two went their separate ways just a year later. And to be fair, this song was never that big to begin with, but it needs to be. It needs to be that big. We could put this song on Billboard in modern day if we really wanted to, man. I'm willing to get the ball rolling because, like I said, this song cold.
Some things are more tolerable than others. There's just some that I have a disdain for, you know, just because it's I feel like it's loud.
I remember being in my room, playing with my toys, watching 106 in Park, and thinking I just heard one of the coldest songs of all time. Now, I might have been exaggerating at that moment, but for me, Ain't I still goes down as a classic, man. The beat is cold with that silky synth lead in the background, the horns that come in is cold, and of course the lyrics, because you can't get better than Then you get T.I. on the later half of the track who comes in and steals the show. Easily the best verse, there is no debate. Ain't I is such a good and catchy song, which is why it's so surprising to me that nobody ever brings it up. This stuff be having me thinking, like, was I in the bubble this whole time? Like I know I can't be the only person to experience these songs, man. Don't let me be alone on this. If you recognize Ain't I as a classic, go ahead and say something in the comments, man.
Like, I'm something different. I kind of picture it like a Beyonce meets Gwen Stefani.
In 2008, the question was, who is Asia Cruz? Now the question is, where is Asia Cruz? Because this chick done disappeared off the face of the earth. But before she disappeared, she left us with a classic with Selfish. A song that I was not hip to when it came out. I'm gonna be real. I ain't hear this song until 2020. And that was on accident. I don't even know how I came across it. But I did. and I ended up loving it, man. It was a cool little vibe that immediately took me back to the late 2000s, man. And it's a shame the song really didn't take off like that. Even on YouTube, the song only got about 10 million views. And they teased another music video at the end of this, but obviously you see that never saw the light of day. And with the marketing her as Who Is Asia Cruz, it's obvious that they wanted her to be something huge. But when that first song ain't go nowhere, they put her on the shelf and did nothing else with her. She got the typical record label treatment, man. That most likely discouraged her, and it's probably the reason why you don't see her at all nowadays. And it sucked because, like I said, this song really do hit, man.
Everything'll be alright if you.
And it was at this moment history was made. Rap and R&B duos of the 2000s, man. Yeah, there was just something in the air back in the day, man. To when a rapper and R&B singer could come together and make a classic. And the fact that there was just so many of them during this time, with Chingy and Tyrese, Fabulous and Tamia, Bow Wow and Sierra. This era was truly something else, man. It was a moment in time that couldn't be replicated. So today, I want to speak on 3 aspects that truly made this era what it was, while also picking 3 of the best duos that best fit the description. That being said, man, let's get into the R&B and rap duos of the 2000s. At the core of all of the great R&B and rap duos of the 2000s is the heart. And what I mean by heart is both artists putting in the effort to make the song great. That means memorable verses as well as a memorable chorus. When you get a song where both artists put their heart in it, both artists truly put their effort in it, you get a song that can last for generations, man. Now with that being said, let's be real. Some of these duos be very one-sided, with 9 times out of 10, it's being carried by the singer. A perfect example of this is Into You by Tamia and Fabulous.
Hey.
Tamia carried, there is no debate. I'm just speaking from personal experience. Fabulous' verse is very monotone and very boring. I'd much rather listen to the original version without him. That's just me. But for every bad example, there's plenty of good. We have Busta Rhymes and Mariah Carey with I Know What You Want. Both of them got on this song and went crazy, man. We have Bow Wow and Chris Brown with Shorty Like Mine, a song you simply could not go without hearing in the mid-2000s, man. We have Bow Wow and Omarion with Let Me Hold You. These two also had that song Girlfriend. I don't want to talk about that one though. All of these are great songs where both artists show out, but there's one song that reigns above them all. Nelly and Kelly Rowland with Dilemma. This song has such a vibe to it, man. Such a magical vibe. Like, it truly cannot be understated. The energy that Nelly and Kelly bring to this song be having me play it on repeat, man. And the dope thing about this song is they're not just singing and rapping on something generic, but instead they tell a story with them both playing a role in it. Now with that being said, this story is toxic. Like, it's crazy. She's cheating on her dude. Crazy work. But song still hit, so it is what it is for real. Nelly did this thing, Kelly did her thing, and as a result, we have a song that will last for generations. These two perfectly showcase what it means to put your heart in your verse, to put your heart in your song. But without the second ingredient to the perfect duo, the heart means nothing. Chemistry is the foundation of a great collab. Without it, you might as well throw everything else out the window. Throw the whole collab out the window. When there's chemistry, and it seems like both artists actually like each other, they both enjoy each other's company, and that's when we get something magical. This ain't nothing like when two artists come together and both of their energies meshing together so well to where you can feel them bouncing off each other through the screen, man. That's exactly what was going on with Nelly and Kelly Rowland. Their chemistry was so dope that people actually thought that they was a couple, man, which they wasn't. Nelly was with Ashanti at the time, who was busy herself being part of one of the biggest, if not the biggest, duo in R&B and rap. Enter Ja Rule and Ashanti, man. A duo so iconic, they're literally the first ones I think about when I think about these collabs. I mean, they the center of the thumbnail. So yeah, I mean, where do I even start with these two? Because they got at least 10 songs together. We got Mesmerized, which is one of my favorite songs. Always on Time, which is one of the most popular ones. They collabed on the Ashanti song Happy. And they even got that song Wonderful with. Song still hit though. These two are the embodiment of what it means to have chemistry on a song together, man. Not once am I hearing these two together and I'm thinking this song could have been better with somebody else, or they sound like they don't want to be there. You can tell that they enjoy each other's company, and as a result, you get great music like this. They are undoubtedly the best duo of the 2000s, and to say otherwise, you're crazy. When a pair has chemistry, it makes it easy to bring your heart into it, to make the songs feel like something. And when you're able to accomplish that, you get the final ingredient to the perfect duo. When you have the foundation of chemistry in the walls of the heart, the result is pure vibes. I mean, this is a Childish Nature video. The end result is always vibes. But when it comes to these duos, the vibe is a necessity. Without the vibes, you just got another song you can bop your head to. But when they there, and they there strong, you feel that song in your soul, man. And when it comes to music, that's as high as you can get. Songs with undeniable vibes to them like Soulja Boy with Soulja Girl. I know I could have said Kiss Me Through the Phone, but I like this one. You got Plies and Neo with Busted Baby. And then you have the next duo, who bring an undeniable energy to their song that fills the whole room with Sunshine. Lil Flip and Leah. What is there to say about this song, man? You got the smooth drums in the background, Leah's soft voice that sets the mood for the entire song. You got Lil Flip's calm and cool flow and delivery, and that lead on the hook is just the icing on top. And while we at it, let's give Leah her flowers here, because although this might be the only song I ever heard her on, the one shot she did have, she knocked it out the park, man. This song perfectly encapsulates what a vibe is supposed to be. It come on and set the mood for the whole room, man. But this wouldn't be possible without first setting up the chemistry that leads into you putting your heart into it. That creates a vibe that lasts forever. Now, rap and R&B duos have always been a thing, from the 90s all the way to now. But it was in the 2000s where I felt like it was just unmatched. Shows that desperately need a proper ending. We all got them shows that you used to watch religiously, week by week, tuning in to see what was going on next, just for it to end out of nowhere, leaving you confused. Leaving the audience on a 20-year cliffhanger, yearning for a proper conclusion to their favorite shows. That's what we're gonna get into today, man. So without further ado, let's get into it.
My date and I were wondering if you have a flight of stairs we could throw ourselves down.
With the high that Victorious was running on being Nickelodeon's last few hits, you would think that they'll be able to get themselves a series finale. No, not at all. I remember this one specifically, bro. Watching the last episode of Victorious, not knowing it was the last episode. They were just up to their standard goofy hijinks, doing what they do. And I was like, cool. Can't wait to see what they do next week. Next week came. Nothing. All right, they might have skipped this week. Let's see what they do next week. Nothing came. And now I'm confused because what's going on? They just canceled Victorious on us with no warning. Now, why did they just randomly choose to do this? Apparently, it was because Victoria Justice wanted to do a solo tour. I don't know how to feel about that because what was going on? Was her head gassed up or something? A hit series that you star in had to end because you wanted to do a little tour? No, at the end of the day, that answer is not a concrete answer. We don't officially know why the show ended, but it's a shame, man, because this show do deserve an ending. I could have had it where Tori finally signed to a record label, getting ready to release her first hit song, or even first album. And the last few episodes will be the build up to that release. And because of her newfound fame, she got to decide whether to stay in Hollywood arts or to just do homeschooling while being a full-time artist. That'd be interesting, man. I would have loved to see that. Y'all can at least give this show a 10-year reunion episode or something. I know it's been 11 years since the show ended, but still, that'd at least give some closure.
All right, look at here.
Now I'm gonna keep it a stack with y'all, man. I know nothing about girlfriends. My only knowledge of this show is the couple of seconds I've seen from my sisters or my mom watching it. Other than that, I don't really know much, other than why the show ended. But we can get into that a little later. Now, this is easily the longest running series on this list with 8 whole seasons. That is 172 episodes, bro. And y'all couldn't give them a finale after all that? That's crazy. Instead of a finale, they left y'all with a cliffhanger, with Joan's fiance going off to the military and giving her a letter to read to his students. What happens after that is left up in the air. But the thing with fan bases is, I know some of y'all created y'all own personal endings to the show, giving every character a nice conclusion. If you do have your own theory about the show's conclusion, go ahead, put it in the comments, man. I would love to read it. Now, why did the show end so abruptly? The same reason most shows end abruptly. Low ratings, and things being too expensive to continue production. But they did, however, have a proper series finale planned, but the plans for that was scrapped. So yeah, they left y'all in the dust.
Miles has been kidnapped.
Now, Moesha's final episode can be best summed up as just doing too much, bro. Now, people already wasn't happy with the last few seasons, with them introducing Reggie as their cousin, who they later find out is actually their brother because their dad cheated on their mom back in the day. Moesha hopping back and forth between Q and Hakeem, getting engaged, moving in with each other. The last episode got Miles getting kidnapped and somebody being pregnant. Like, they was writing this like a soap opera, bro. All my Moesha's type beat, doing too much. Moesha suffered from the curse of going longer than what it should have. Cause you can just tell by this point they was out of ideas, just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping something stick. A conclusion to this show should have happened as soon as Kim left, bro. Ended on a high note, end with high viewership. But no, y'all decided to drag it out and waste everybody's time. Just like the last show on this list, man.
Don't try distracting me with a bunch of questions that no one can answer.
Now I've already made 2 videos about this show. So if you've seen those, you should already know that I cannot stand the way the show ended. And not just me, anybody else who's seen this show understands what I'm talking about. This is by far the worst last episode on this list, bro. And it's not even the fact that the story turns into a complete mess by the end, but bro, they hit us with a clip show for the last episode. It was probably at max 5 minutes of new footage in this finale, and that might be too generous. That is disrespectful. The people watching this finale have stuck with the show for 5 years. Y'all build up the ending, talking about Secret Life, always and forever, and the best y'all can do is a clip show? That's disrespectful, bro. And not to mention the entire last season was a chore to get through. Now the thing about this show is, before they even filmed the first episode of season 1, they had already planned to do 6 seasons. But they make it very obvious that they ran out of stories to tell after season 3. By the time season 5 came around, the ratings were low, and they had to quickly wrap it up. By now, everybody and their mama know the creator came up with a whole new ending a couple years later, wrapping up everybody's storylines, which is cool. I'm all right with what she came up with. Now what I propose is we take this new ending and we put it to screen and fast forward it 10 years later. And y'all create a one-off special that wraps everything up properly. Amy and Ricky is married. They probably got a couple more kids at this point. Ben is the best-selling author. Grace a doctor, Adrian a lawyer, and you have them all come back together for their 10-year high school reunion. I mean, the cast already said they'll be down for a one-off special during the reunion Zoom call, so I say if y'all can, make it happen. During the 2000s, we've seen plenty of artists come and go. Drop a hit, blow up out of nowhere, enjoy their time in the spotlight for a little bit, but more times than not, with that quick rise to the top, they'll fall off just as fast, disappearing from the public's conscience, only being brought up for that one hit, with many people thinking that one song was all they had in the chamber when it comes to their music. Now, one-hit wonders get a bad rap. People think that just because they fell off or left the music scene entirely, that it somehow equates to them having bad music. And the other side of people, as I just mentioned, will go listen to that one song and then sit and wonder what happened to the artist and question why they never made any music past that. Meanwhile, neither side actually goes to check out these people's music to confirm any of their thoughts. And you know what? I was one of them people, but we're gonna change that today, man, because today I'm checking out 4 one-hit wonders' first albums to see if their catalog holds up to the song that put them on. Now real quick, with the plethora of one-hit wonders from the 2000s, I'm thinking about making this an ongoing series on the channel, just chilling and reviewing the albums of the people whose music never got a second chance. I feel like it'll be fun, you know what I'm saying? Now with that being said, I don't know every one-hit wonder out here, you know what I'm saying? So if y'all got somebody y'all want me to talk about, say something in the comments, man.
Always overcome those trends and those labels, because you know everything kind of if it's a trend, it comes to an end. And really, what allows you to survive is good music.
Separated art from technique.
Buddy, the song is called 1,000 Miles. Put your hands together for Vanessa Carlton.
Welcome to the kingdom.
Charging in hot in the spring of '02, after releasing a song that quite literally took over the world, we got Vanessa Carlton with Be Not Nobody. Now, unlike the other projects I'm gonna talk about throughout this video, this is not my first time hearing this album. My first time hearing this album was like sometime last year. I don't know when, but last year. And I specifically remember not liking it. Like I thought it sounded like too dark, I just wasn't feeling it at the time. But it is now the year of 2024, and I have since listened to this album at least 4 or 5 times. And I must say, I was fried out my mind thinking this album was trash, man. This thing is beautiful. This is a beautiful piece of work. This is what you call art, man. Getting into the track list, she opens the album up with Ordinary Day. And if you have not heard Ordinary Day, go listen to Ordinary Day. This is top 5 Vanessa Carlton songs, and I don't think it's 4 or 5. This song is beautiful, and it is honestly shocking that this song didn't go to be even bigger than 1,000 Miles. The melody she sings, the production. Let's stop real quick. Let's get into the production, because if there was one thing that this album excels at, it's the production. The production is near perfect on this album, man. Like, I'm gonna keep it a stack. Vanessa is not the best singer. Like, she could sing, but it's very obvious that she has limitations with the range that she has. If I could compare her level of vocal talent to anybody, I'll give it to Taylor Swift. Like, you can tell they can sing, but they ain't about to do nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? But what she lacks in her vocal range, she more than makes up for it with her skills on the piano. This woman's talent with the piano is just amazing. And then you add the assistance of Ron Flair on top of that, you in for a treat, man. Like I said, Ordinary Day, amazing. She keeps the energy going with the next song, Unsung, which was a cool little bop, nothing crazy. Then of course you got 1,000 Miles. Then she cools it down with a song like Pretty Baby, which is almost like a lullaby. Not that that's the issue, it still hit. Then we get into Rinse, which is a song that carries kind of like a darker atmosphere to it. Like when I said I didn't like the album last year, this is probably one of the main songs that made me not like it. I don't have an issue with the song now. Is it one of my favorites? No, but you know what I'm saying? I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it now. Sway comes in with some nice drums and a crazy guitar. Then we get Prince, where the drummer get to show off, man. Bro did his thing on this, man. But of course, not just the drummer. Vanessa did her thing too. Her melodies easily get stuck in your head, man. Other than Ordinary Day, Prince is easily one of the best songs off this album. Then off of that, we get into Painted Black, which I could really do without, for real. Like, I don't think any song on this album is bad per se, but if we had to get rid of one, it'll be this. Painted Black, you can go. But from Painted Black, we go right back up in quality with Wanted, which is a beautiful piano ballad, man. And then we cap it all off with Twilight, which is, I'ma Sound Like a Broken Record, also one of the best songs on this album. Beautiful way to end off the album. Just overall cold track, man. Catchy melody, all that. One thing I have to give this album that sticks out from the rest that we're about to get into today is although this album was made in 2002, it doesn't sound like 2002. Like obviously you can hear certain trends of melodies and whatnot that was prevalent then in some of this, but with the use of real instruments and with Vanessa's intentions coming through clearly on this album. Like this stands the test of time. You can listen to this album right now and it does not sound dated whatsoever, man. And I know I've been gassing up this album for a good minute now. I ain't trying to say it's a perfect album, like it's some like legendary thing that should be heard through the masses. But for what it is, this is a great album, man. And I truly recommend y'all go listen to this, man, because it hit. Now, if you want to hear more about Vanessa and her music, I suggest you go watch this video where I break down the beginning of her career all the way to where it is now. I even talk about her other 2 albums that's even better than this one. So go check out that video, man. But for this album, like I said, it ain't like the best thing of all time, but it is a good piece of work. This is a great piece of work. I gotta give it at the least an 8 out of 10, at the most 8.5. I'll go with 8.5 out of 10, man. With that being said, let's get into the next album.
A lot of people wonder what my hair looks like under my hat. This is it.
Welcome to the kingdom.
Gavin DeGraw is one of one. Because not many people can say they had their biggest hit become the theme song of one of the biggest TV shows on television. But nonetheless, we have 2003's Chariot. And real quick before we start the review, I'm just not finding out that bro really ain't a one-hit wonder. He got hits under his belt, man. So yeah, I would do something about that, but you know what I'm saying? He already in the thumbnail. I done listened to the album about 5 times already. We rolling with it, I don't care. That being said, we have 2003's Chariot. A solid piece of work from Gavin DeGraw, man. Coming in with that alternative rock sound, showcasing his vocals, and my goodness, bro can sing, man. If Gavin DeGraw was gonna do one thing on his album, it's sing. Amazing vocals, man. Bro went crazy. Getting into the track list, he starts off this album with 2 beautiful pieces of work. Follow through, go hard, it's catchy, it's hypnotizing. He got it. Chariot, let me talk about Chariot. Chariot is the best song off this album without a shadow of a doubt. This is a hit. You want vocals, he delivered on it. You want bridges, he got it. You want build up, he did that, man. This is a beautiful song. I don't know how else I can say it. This is crazy. And it blows my mind away that this song is not one of his biggest hits. From Chariot, we go to Anyways, which is a hit. It's catchy. The song Just Friends is honestly forgettable. If you ask me to sing a lyric from it, I honestly couldn't give you anything. This is not the only forgettable song. I would mention other ones, but I forgot about them. But he does end up bringing my attention back with songs like Belief and Meaning, with Meaning being the second best song on this album. Now going back to the forgettable songs, just because I called them forgettable, it doesn't mean I think they're bad. They're solid. If I could remember it, I would tell you they're solid. To keep it 100, I don't think there's any bad songs on this album. Now there's songs I don't like. For that, we got 2 of them, with Chemical Party and The song, I Don't Want to Be Anything. I never liked that song. It was always annoying. It's still annoying. I don't like it. That's really it. Those two songs ain't really my speed, so I don't mess with them. Other than that, my only critique of this album, outside of some of the songs being forgettable, I don't think it does that much to stand out. Like, dude can sing. The production is good. But other than that, like if these songs came on the radio and I didn't know who it was, I would just think it's your standard 2000s alternative rock song. So like I said, it sounds good. There's just not too much going on to differentiate it from other alternative sounds that was out at the time. You know what I'm saying? So overall, Gavin DeGraw's Chariot, I'm gonna give a solid 6 out of 10, man. Now don't get it twisted, 6 out of 10 don't mean it's bad. It's just aight, you know what I'm saying? I have no issue turning this album on a rainy day, just chilling and vibing. But at the same time, there's better options. Shout out Gavin DeGraw. On to the next one, man.
Hello, my darlings. This is TK. I know it's been a long time, but I'm back. And here is Beyonce's 1+1, which is one of my personal favorites off of this album for. Here it goes.
Welcome to the kingdom.
Popping off on MySpace with I Wish You Loved Me, we got Tanisha Kelly with the Chronicles of TK. Now listen, Tanisha Kelly is a beast. This chick's voice is mind-blowing, bro. Let her pop up nowadays, she'll be singing circles around your favorite R&B singers, man. And there was no better example of that than with her hit, I Wish You Loved Me, man. I love this song. From the production, her vocals, everything about the song is just perfect, bro. I'll have this song on repeat, never getting tired of it. And not only this song, but also My Everything, which is such a smooth, chill vibe, bro. I remember just bumping that song on the bus on my way to work, looking out the window, the snow coming down. I hated working there, but those vibes just brought peace for like 10-15 minutes for me, man. With these two hits in her arsenal, I was excited to see what she had in store for a whole entire studio album. And my lord, am I disappointed. Oh my goodness. If this ain't some of the most basic sounding late 2000s R&B, man, some of these songs are so generic, they sound like they belong in a Disney Channel movie, man. Like at any given moment, you could have heard a Disney Channel original movie and it wouldn't sound out of place. Now, not every song on the album follows that formula. For instance, the first song on the album, Conversations with God. It's some real nice production on that, man. The beginning of the song is cinematic with the sounds of the city in the background. It hyped me up for real. It had me thinking we was really about to get into something, man. The album just went stale. And I don't know about y'all, but to me, if you're single, it's the best song on the album, and after that, everything else is just stale. That ain't good, man. Now I seen that she has a second album, and that project even got a remaster. So I'm thinking maybe this one was the sleeper, and the second one was the hit. I don't know. Y'all tell me, should I go listen to the second album? But for the first one, Chronicles of TK, I might have to give it just a 4 out of 10, man. 2 songs out of 13, that's not great. I'm just disappointed because I really did want to enjoy this, but it is what it is. Let's get to the last album, man.
In time, when I'm racing with destiny,
Welcome to the kingdom.
It was December 2008. Now, I don't remember if it was Christmas or not, but me and my sisters were playing with our Christmas toys. While playing, they had the remote, so they put on Tiffany Evans' Promise Ring. I remember hearing that song back then and just loving the vibe of it, man. Loving the fun, bubbly vibe of it. I love this song, man. To this day, it's still in my rotation. The bouncy beat, the amazing vocals, and just the fluttery vibes of it all, man. Just a fun, innocent R&B song about a promise ring. A promise ring of all things. Like, who sings about promise rings nowadays, man? It's beautiful. Now, I can't lie. After listening to Tanisha Kelly's album, I was scared to listen to this, man. I was scared to be let down again, man. But thankfully, Tiffany Evans, with her self-titled album, knocked it out the park, man. This album is so fun to listen to from front to back, man. I done heard this album about 4 times now. And each time, it did not disappoint. First off, her vocals are amazing, but I ain't got to say that, y'all heard it. The production is amazing. It just reminds me of everything I love about 2000s R&B, man. But enough gassing it, let's get into the track list. Starting off with, of course, the heavy hitter, Promise Ring. then sliding in with I'm Grown featuring Bow Wow. Now I'm gonna be real, this song is not my favorite. If I'm going to listen to this album again, I'll most likely skip it, but nonetheless, it's still a cool song. Then we get into Impossible, which I cannot lie, it kinda scared me, man. I thought I fell into the same trap of Disney Channel music, man. But then we get into Thinking About, which is a song with so much bounce and swing to it, man. And the way she used her vocals on it, man, like it sounds like a hit. I'm surprised it's not one. From there, we roll into Can't Walk Away, which, if I can describe this song in one word, it's Fruitigal Arrow. You might be confused right now, but I'm telling you, look at this picture, then go listen to the song. You gonna know exactly what I'm talking about, man. Lay back and chill, it's a self-explanatory song. Peak vibes, man. Feel like I'm riding down the street in my Cadillac with this song going. We got Girl Going Wild, which got some Aaliyah vibes to it, with her basically just calling out all the fake females. Then after that, we get About a Boy, which is just such a cute song, man. I know that's a heartbreak song, but it's a cute heartbreak song, man. I know some of y'all used to cry to the song back in the day, don't lie. Favorite Broken Heart, it got similar to vibes to About a Boy. It's still a hit regardless though. Again, it's a vibe, and Angels on Earth. Vocals. This album kept me entertained through and through, man. Other than a song like Impossible, there was not a dull moment on here, man. Like Tiffany did her thing. She brought the vocals, she brought the swag, she brought it all, man. And for that, I'm gonna give this album an 8 out of 10. I will be going back to listen to this album, and I will be enjoying it. Shout out Tiffany Evans, man. She made beautiful work, man. This album is a piece of art, man. And speaking about pieces of art, from a simple waitress to a Grammy-nominated artist, I give you Vanessa Carlton. A woman gifted with the piano since the age of 2, giving us countless timeless classics over the years, such as Ordinary Day, White Houses, Pretty Baby, and the one hit that is universally known. I ain't even gonna play the rest, I know what's up. The song was only meant to be an interlude on her demo tape that she recorded for Interscope Records, but shortly after signing, issues arose with her and the label, and Vanessa was seconds away from being dropped. Her demo was in a bag of CDs ready to be scrapped. But right before that happened, the bag was handed off to Ron Fair, a producer at Interscope. He was told to check over the bag and make sure that it was set to throw it out. In the midst of checking out the demos, he came across Vanessa Carlton's and discovered a hidden gem.
There's a fucking smash on this. We cannot drop this artist.
And from there, Vanessa was brought back in the studio to re-record the song with Ron. They reworked it, put it out, and the song took off, reaching number 5 on the Billboard Top 100. And before you know it, she was everywhere. Interviews, live shows, MTV, being nominated for a Grammy. The song even helped create one of the most iconic movie scenes of the 2000s. For that split second in time, Vanessa Carlton was on top of the world, until she seemingly vanished out the limelight, leaving fans of the song to wonder what happened. So that's what we about to get into today, man. Vanessa Carlton, Life After 1,000 Miles. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Time for a little music, and we're in a nice little intimate environment now, making her first ever television performance off the upcoming album, Be Not Nobody. This song is called 1,000 Miles. Put your hands together for Vanessa Carlton.
With Vanessa's hype in the air, the label wasted no time getting her album out, because only 2 months after 1,000 Miles came out, her debut album, Be Not Nobody, released, and to positive reception at that, selling over 100,000 units first week. And that was before streaming, so trust to believe she was doing swell. With the assistance of Ron Flair, this album is a beautiful mix of orchestral, pop, and rock sounds. From track 1 to 11, there are no sleepers on this album, man. If 1,000 Miles ever piqued your interest, I truly suggest you go listen to this album, man. You won't be disappointed. Now, Be Not Nobody was flying off the shelves, because in just 2 months of its release, it reached gold status. And 4 months after that, hitting platinum. During the later part of the year, before going on tour, she released 2 more singles off the album, that being Ordinary Day and Pretty Baby, with Ordinary Day peaking at number 30 on the Billboard Top 100 charts. And on August 20th, she set out to tour, opening up for the Goo Goo Dolls and Third Eye Blind, before eventually headlining her own tour in the latter half of 2002, having Maroon 5 open up for her, who just so happened to also drop their debut album this year. And although Pretty Baby may have failed the chart, it is undeniable that 2002 was the year for Vanessa Carlton. And I also forgot to mention that Vanessa was supposedly supposed to be part of Motown's Christmas special. Now, I ain't seen no footage of it, but they said it happened, so I guess. With the amount of momentum she picked up in 2002, she was able to carry it into the next year, starting the year off with her first TV appearance on the show American Dreams, followed up by being a feature on Counting Crows' version of Big Yellow Taxi, a song that went on to peak at number 42 on the Billboard Top 100. With her name so hot in the spotlight and Be Not Nobody eventually reaching 2 million units sold. By the summer of 03, there was no better time than now for Vanessa to get to work on her sophomore album. So she linked up with Stephon Jenkins, member of Third Eye Blonde and also her boyfriend at the time. Ran out to a ranch in San Francisco and got to work. Now going into the creation of this album, one thing Vanessa knew for certain is that she did not want this album sounding like the last. Feeling as if Be Not Nobody sounded a little too perfect. Stating in an interview that she felt like the keys sound like pads and the other instruments sounding like synths. With this new album, she wanted it to be raw, wanting the audience to feel the keys as she plays, wanting them to feel the violin as it squeaks, feeling like the imperfections of the music is what makes it beautiful. And throughout the recording process of this album, she was feeling real ambitious, stating that she wanted this album to be her Sgt. Pepper's. And for those of y'all who ain't hip, that's the Beatles. I wasn't hip either, I had to look it up, so I'm with y'all. But overall, it was safe to say that Vanessa truly had confidence in her new project. A confidence that will begin to break, one by one. Starting off at the beginning of the album's rollout, when her new single White Houses was banned from MTV, with her apparently being too graphic with her words when speaking on losing her virginity in the song. Not only was it banned from MTV, but it also got limited airplay because of that. These limitations severely hindered the song from reaching its full potential, with it only reaching number 86 on the Billboard Top 100 charts. And with White Houses being the lead single for the album, it's fair to say it is not looking too good for its release. And just to add salt in the wound, the record label barely promoted the album, and with such a poor album rollout, it would be no shocker that this project failed to reach anywhere near close. Be Not Nobody. As her sophomore album Harmonium will only go to sell 36,000 copies first week, a whole 74,000 difference in sales. Now of course the album sales does not reflect the quality of the music, as Harmonium is yet again another beautiful piece of work that I would recommend that you listen to. From White Houses, Annie, San Francisco, Afterglow, Private Radio, this woman makes some good music, man. Y'all get hit. With the failure of Harmonium, Vanessa felt sabotaged. She felt as if the label purposely didn't promote her album to prove a point. The thing about Vanessa is, she was never somebody to just go along with what the label wanted. And obviously, the label didn't like that. Now this was already somewhat of an issue before. It was part of the reason why Vanessa was moments away from being dropped off the label before they found 1,000 Miles. It was already a known thing. If Vanessa didn't rock with it, Vanessa wasn't doing it. So with Vanessa feeling sabotaged, she decided to leave Interscope in 2005. And to promote the album herself, she decided to go on tour, open up for people here and there. But of course, her self-promotion wouldn't do as much as a record label would. And slowly but surely, Vanessa was following up the memories of music listeners. But even in her circumstances, she didn't give up and would be planning to come back the following year with a vengeance.
Well, today's guest has not been here in quite some time. Today she'll hand deliver her new video. Please welcome Vanessa Carlton.
Welcome to the kingdom.
Moving into 2006, Vanessa was now an unsigned artist, looking for a label that would not only support her image, but let her create the music that her heart desires. And a label with these qualities that she ended up gravitating towards would be unexpected to say the least, because she ended up signing with Murder Inc. And I ain't even playing, bro. Vanessa Carlton was on the same label as Ja Rule, and that's crazy. Through a chance meeting, Irv Gotti ran into Vanessa at the UMG office, and the two instantly clicked. Gotti was rocking with her music, and she was messing with the way he did business, stating that the best thing Irv gave her was support, a type of support she's been wanting for a long time. With Vanessa now being an official member of the Inc., she wasted no time getting started on her third studio album, set for a late 2007 release. During the album's creation process, Irv Gotti acted as a co-pilot, letting Vanessa guide her vision for what she wants the album to be. Despite what many would have thought with a pop act signing to a hip-hop label, Vanessa didn't have to change her style or alter her appearance to fit the labels, unlike what Interscope tried to do. With this album, Vanessa was just able to be Vanessa. In fact, this would probably be the most authentic Vanessa we would get musically thus far. While working on the album, Irv Gotti was also filming a reality TV show for reasons. And throughout the show's run, you can see Vanessa show up every now and then. She would state later that she wasn't really that fond of the cameras, but you know what I'm saying? The album's release date was rapidly approaching. And with the public not hearing nothing about Vanessa for over 3 years, now was as good a time as any to let the world know that Vanessa was back, releasing her single, No Little Fairy Tale, where in the very first scene, she's seen reenacting 1,000 Miles before eventually a taxi comes through and destroys the piano. Obviously, by this time, she got tired of the song, which is common. Most artists don't like the song that they blew up with, especially when that's all people know you for. Yeah, that's annoying. She debuted the single on MTV's TRL, and it did get some airplay, but it did fail to chart. But with the audience it did reach, they loved it. And the song was also featured in the episode of Gossip Girl, so it ain't just go nowhere. With the traction she picked up from her single, Vanessa Carlton finally released her third studio album, Heroes and Thieves. Now the album didn't do well commercially, but critically, it was praised, being regarded as her best album to date by many, including me. I personally love this album, man. From the upbeat sound of Fairy Tale, the catchy melody of Hands on Me, the beautiful piano ballad of the album title track, and more than this, bro, this album is it, bro. And I know I gassed up the other two, but if you're just gonna listen to any Vanessa Carlton album, listen to this one. This is cold. Now, Heroes and Thieves will be the first and only album she will release on Ink Records, as sometime shortly after this, she will leave the label. And not only that, this will also be the last album she will release for quite some time, as the next album she released wouldn't come until 2011 with Rabbits on the Run, an album where she changes her style up to more of a folk sound, an album produced independently, by the way. So yeah, she never really gained back that audience that she captured with her first album, but I think she may actually prefer it this way, because now the only person that can tell her what to do with her music is her and her alone.
I don't really know how to do these announcements. Like, should I be sitting at the piano? I thought this was like sort of a cool Masterpiece Theater vibe.
Welcome to the kingdom.
After Rabbits on the Run in 2011, Vanessa has only released 2 more albums, that being Liberman in 2015 and Love is an Art in 2020. Not being connected to a label anymore, she doesn't have that pressure to keep releasing an album every single year anymore. She drops them when she feel like it, and I ain't got no problem with it. In between releases, she has since become a mother, giving birth to her daughter back in 2015. She got married in 2013 after saying that she wouldn't be a bride. She got to star in her first ever Broadway musical called Beautiful back in 2019. And has since made a mini documentary talking about the creation of 1,000 Miles. If you want a little more detail into how that came to be, I suggest you go watch that video. And nowadays, she be touring, chilling in her own little bubble. And honestly, what more can you ask for? After getting done dirty by the music industry, she was able to bounce back and continue to create in her own lane, on her own time, and of her own will. Pop punk was everywhere in the 2000s, man. Whether it be commercials, TV shows, movies, video games, and the overwhelming amount of bands that just popped out of nowhere, man. And just like the bands, the genre seemingly popped out of nowhere. But the punk scene actually got some interesting history to it, dating back to the 70s, where urban city kids felt like rock was getting too stale and safe. And as teens do, they rebelled against the norm. They started to dress different. They started to act different. And of course, with these changes, the music followed. They started to host these small concerts, barely knowing how to play their instruments. And their lyrics would usually just consist of them yelling out whatever political movement they was against. And these concerts would get crazy, man. Maybe a little too crazy, because I heard somebody was cutting themselves for glass on stage, oh my god. But out of this craziness, will come the punk pioneers, such as Television, Sex Pistols, and Patti Smith. Eventually, this urban subculture will move to the suburbs of Cali, where it will pick up a sound that has already been experimented with by bands like the Buzzcocks and Generation X, but it will be solidified by the band in the mid-80s, The Descendants. With their albums Milo Goes to College and I Don't Wanna Grow Up, the lighthearted teen poppy sound of pop rock was cemented in history. Fast forward to the 2000s and that sound is running rampant, but it was a run we all enjoyed, man. Like, I can't think of pop punk and not think of a good time. And that's why we just about to hop right into it, man. Let's talk about when pop punk took over the world. But before we start, I do want to say this is the first time I'm doing a video where I didn't make any of the beats that you hear in the background. So all of the beats for this video comes from different producers, and I cannot start this video without shouting them out. So shout out Slay and Abyss using 2 of his beats, Skyway, Paranoia Beats, Cleddy, and 05 Allergen. This video would not carry the vibe it does without y'all beats, so shout out y'all, and let's get into it.
As a doctor, my day can get busy in a real hurry, and with my hectic schedule, I don't have time to deal with acid, heartburn, and indigestion. So when my painful stomach acts up, I turn to the one product that's scientifically proven to work.
Blink-182, now with 50% better song.
When it comes to talking about pop punk, I feel it's only right to start off with the genre's first big hitters, Blink-182. Now they already had some type of buzz in the mid-90s, but it wasn't until their album, Anima of the State, that they became a household name, man. And they did so on their own terms, rather than coming in with a more serious and dark tone like their contemporaries Green Day. Blink-182 was nothing but fun, man. Pure, angsty teenage fun. With hits like All the Small Things, What's My Age Again, First Date, Feeling This. Speaking about Feeling This, that song is hard. That song go crazy. And coming right after Blink-182 was Sum 41, with they hits Fat Lip and In Too Deep, with Fat Lip containing elements of rap rock, which is a thing I've never really been a fan of, you know what I'm saying? Like that rap rock sound was always a little corny to me. Only with Soup came in swinging with 1985, Girls All the Boys Want, and High School Never Ends. All of these songs sounded like they came directly from an early 2000s teen rom-com, man. Simple Plan had Just a Kid, which I know people call corny. I don't care. I mess with the song. Speaking of corny, we also had Good Charlotte. Now Good Charlotte was a little interesting because there was a punk band that had a slight urban hip-hop twist to their style and attire. Nonetheless, they was out here giving us fun bops like the Anthem, Girls and Boys, and the Lifestyle of the Rich and Famous. Newfound Glory had fun hits like My Friends Over You and Hit or Miss. Avril Lavigne had Skater Boy. But speaking about Avril Lavigne, man, let's talk about how Disney stole her whole flow, man. Cause for the longest time, I was wondering, why do Avril Lavigne remind me of Disney Channel every time I hear her music? And it's because Disney copied her style and put her on all their female acts. From Hilary Duff, Demi Lovato, Selena Gomez, even a little bit of Miley, man. They all had some Avril in them, man. Of course with a sprinkle of Haley Williams on top because you can't forget Paramore. But yeah though, now I can't listen to Complicated without hearing a Disney Channel original movie right behind it, man. Hopping off a Disney Channel, we got Miley's Brother in the Metro Station with Shake It. A song we all thought was simply about dancing as a kid, man. It wasn't until I got older that I found out it was about getting some butt. Speaking on dancing, we have Fall Out Boy pop out with Dance Dance, and All American Rejects popped out with the toxic anthem, Give You Hell. And just to be clear, this type of pop hit wasn't the norm for All American Rejects, as they would usually stay on the other side of pop punk, the emo side. Now on the emo side, they will be going full force, giving us hits like Swing Swing, which is a bop to this day. Don't care what nobody say, that song still hit. Move Alone, Dirty Little Secret, and It Ends Tonight, which is a more slow song compared to the other 3 I just mentioned, but it still hit. Now they wasn't the only ones swinging emo. Fall Out Boys had Sugar What Going Down, Boys Like Girls had Great Escape, Green Day had Boulevard of Broken Dreams, The Killers had Mr. Brightside, which is a song I don't think any 2000s kid can hear and resist the urge to not sing along to, man. Wait, hold up. Coming out of my cage, I'm doing just fine. Blink-182 of our bands dipped their toe in the emo scene a little bit. What I Miss You, a song that is infamous for a strong emo twang, man.
Where are you? And I'm so sorry.
Adam Lambert had What Do You Want From Me? Man, who remembers Adam Lambert, man? Dude won American Idol and then proceeded to drop one of the hardest emo songs of all time. But while we on the topic of the hardest emo songs of all time, we have to mention the 2 superstars of emo. That being Paramore and My Chemical Romance. Wasn't nobody out here doing emo like them, man. Paramore had Haley Williams, who, as I stated before, got her sound stolen by Disney, but with songs like Misery Business, Decode, Crush Crush Crush, that's what you get. And Pressure, can you really blame nobody? Then we slide over to My Chemical Romance, who is unarguably the face of emo, with songs like Helena, I'm Not Okay, and the certified emo anthem, Black Parade. And if you think this ain't an anthem, blast this song in the middle of suburbia and watch everybody over 30 go buck wild, man. And with songs like this pushing the pop punk movement, there's no question why it had such an impact on the media back in the day, man.
Well, I don't do my iconic victory dance for nothing. Okay, I guess just this once I can do it for nothing. Ew, ew, ew. Okay, I guess I can do one more for nothing. Ew, ew, ew. Ew, ew, ew. Wrong! Oh, I swear to God, if I had my glibbly gun up here...
We cannot talk about pop punk's influence on media without talking about teenage movies of the 2000s, man. The teen movies of the 2000s is the first thing that comes to mind when I think of pop punk. Movies like American Pie, that free nasty movie that none of us had any business watching as kids, man. I mean, I seen it through my older siblings. They was watching it and I just so happened to sit down and watch it with them. I mean, I shouldn't have, but I did. So yeah, another teen comedy I had no business watching, John Turker Must Die. Now this was one of the only teen comedies we had on DVD. And when I tell you we used to have this movie on repeat, we literally used to go to sleep, wake up with this movie on. And in the middle of saying that sentence, it just occurred to me, there's people alive today who don't know what this is. They've never seen this in their life. That's crazy. John Turker goated, simple as that. Now of course we have more than that. There was also Euro Trip, a fun little road trip movie. The siblings kissed in that movie. That's nasty. And not another teen movie. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I can't stand these parody movies, man. They just fit with some of the most lowbrow, easy humor you can possibly think of. And the pop culture references, oh my goodness, I hate it. But to be fair to this movie, this was made in 2001, so this is before they start going trash. Now, I also wanted to mention Road Trip, which doesn't necessarily have a pop punk soundtrack, but the vibes of the movie perfectly fit the other pop punk teen coms. Now moving away from the raunchiness, we also have Freaky Friday, a movie that is literally pop punk to its core. I mean, Lindsay Lohan's character is a punk girl with a punk band. You can't get more punk than that. Now moving away from Disney, over to Nickelodeon with Clockstoppers, whose soundtrack is filled with pop punk. And again, while we're talking about kid channels, let's move over to Cartoon Network. Not for any movie, but because I feel like Cartoon Network embodied pop punk way more than the other two channels. But let's not forget, they was also giving us bops with C and Grooves. We had the Powerpuff Girls, Supergirl, Dee Dee and Dexter, Jabberjaw. I don't think there's a single person who don't know how Jabberjaw go. They played this song to its grave, man. They also have some bops with the bumpers. If y'all remember that one with the hives. But more than just the grooves and the bumpers, it was the theme songs, man. The theme songs used to go crazy. We had What's New Scooby-Doo, which had one of the best theme songs of all time. I personally didn't even watch the show, but I knew that theme song from heart, right? Puffy Yummy Yumi, Stoked, Total Drama, 16. Man, listen, I know everybody hype up Total Drama, but 16 is such an underrated show, man. I might like it more than Total Drama, to be honest. I like the characters more, and the show overall just got this chill vibe to it. And the theme song, come on now. Now, Cartoon Network wasn't the only ones cooking up with theme songs, man. Nickelodeon had Cap and Mikey, a show you might not remember too well, but when you hear that theme song, all the memories just come flooding back, man. Life as a Teenage Robot, an underrated show with an underrated theme song, man. Disney Channel had Phineas and Ferb, sung by yours truly, Bowling with Soup. They had Witch on JetX, whose theme song had no business going as hard as it does. Zeke and Luther on XD, which I know came out in the 2010s, but it got the same vibe as the 2000 style, and plus it's the early 2010s, so it still kinda count. And since I'm bending the rules a little bit, I'm also throw Malcolm in the Middle in there, cause yeah. And we cannot move on to theme song category without talking about the anime openings, man. Whether you was watching it on Toonami or Saturday morning cartoons, they was making sure them theme songs hit. Bleach was out here dropping them punk hits with their first and fourth opening. And bro, when you talk about theme songs taking you back in time, Bleach got it, man. Watching these back, I just get hit with a rush of pure happiness and nostalgia, man. Yu-Gi-Oh! GX and the EXO both have some hype punk theme songs, man. And of course, you gotta throw the original Blade Blade in there. But if we wanna talk about not just pure nostalgia, but embodying punk to its core, then we gotta talk about Sonic X. Not just Sonic X, but also the Sonic games. We had Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Colors, Sonic Heroes, Sonic Riders, Sonic games in general, man. Sonic games in the 2000s was going dummy. But Sonic wasn't the only one going dummy with the punk sound, man. Cause if you played any extreme sports games in the 2000s, you know what's up. we had SSX3, one of the most fun snowboarding games, published by EA Big back in 2003, with the pop-punk sound loud in the background. I ain't never owned the game myself, but my cousins had it, and we used to play it over their house. Fun times, man. We also had Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series. It's about as punk as you can get. A game I never played myself, but I know it was popular, so yeah. Now, one extreme sports game that I do own and still play to this day is Burnout Revenge. I say this with full confidence, man. Burnout Revenge is my favorite game of all time. There is no debate. From the intense and fast-paced racing, being able to be reckless. Not only can you crash into your opponents, but you can also crash into oncoming traffic and just take off like nothing happened, man. And in the background, aiding the intensity of the game, is the perfect pop-punk soundtrack, man. I already be locked in with the racing, but the soundtrack just adds on to it, man. And with pop-punk taking on its own personality with media such as this, there's no question why it had such an impact on the youth of all backgrounds at the scale that it did.
And then I turned on the TV, and that's about the time she walked away from me. Nobody likes it when you're 23, and you're still acting like it's freshman year.
It's much better to face these sorts of things with the sense of voice and personality, down this Panic at the Disco.
In the modern era, the kids that were once fans of the music are now the ones making it, and they shamelessly wear their influences on their sleeves. You got Olivia Rodrigo, who popped out with her hit Good For You off her album Sour, that is full of pop-punk reminiscent of the past. Like she straight up sound like a baby Hayley Williams. And obviously I ain't the only one who noticed, cause chicks face major backlash off that. Billie Eilish expressed her love for Paramore, with them sharing the stage together not once, but twice. Both Willow Smith and MGK was out here dropping whole pop-punk albums, with Willow's Lately I Feel Everything and MGK's Tickets to My Downfall, bringing on legends like Avril Lavigne and Travis Barker to give it that authentic stamp of approval. And the wave don't stop with them. There's a whole load of new TikTok artists bringing in the new age of pop-punk, but the influence of the 2000s era being prevalent in their music. The influence of pop-punk even found its way into hip-hop. Some might think punk and hip-hop are polar opposites, but that couldn't be further from the truth, with them both actually having very similar backgrounds. Both came out of New York from the late 60s to early 70s, both came from rebellious teens, challenging the norms of the industry, and both had the pillars of their culture birthed out of underground parties and gatherings. Hip-hop and punk is kinda like long-distance cousins for real, with neither side afraid to embrace each other. Y'all remember when Lil Wayne dropped that rock album? I mean, the whole thing wasn't punk, but he did have a couple, like Knockout, Get a Life, and we cannot forget the 2016 wave of SoundCloud rap that brought up a whole generation of rappers raised on My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and Paramore. Lil Uzi, Playboi Carti, Trippie Redd, X, Lil Peep, Juice WRLD, London Cube, Little Lotus, all artists coming out the subgenre of melodic/emo rap. From the way they dress, move, talk. If I remember back then, all of them was talking about how they rock stars. It's all emo, it's all punk. Even now with rage music, it's just a deviation from emo rap, that's a deviation from pop punk. And to me, that's simply amazing of how one subgenre, that's not even barely 50 years old, was able to bloom into this huge thing and leave a lasting impact to influence generations from now to the future. Disney Channel in the 2000s for me will always go down as the best era for the channel, man. Just the amount of hit shows they was putting out back to back was insane, man. Even with the movies, releasing instant classics, with each movie breaking the last one's record for the most viewers. And then you just layer the music and the aesthetics of it all on top. We was eating good back then, man. But then we wasn't. They ruined it all. So that's what we about to get into today, man. The history of Disney Channel's peak, all the way from what got us there to what took us away from it. Y'all ready? Let's go.
Next, it's our exclusive presentation of Disney's animated adventure, DuckTales, the movie, Treasure of the Lost Lamp. After that, Bob Hoskins and Christopher Lloyd star in Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Disney Channel in the 90s. Not much was going on, man. Disney Channel was still a brand new thing at the time, still trying to find their place. At this point, the most you had to look forward to was Disney Afternoons, the Mickey Mouse Club, the Disney Vault, and a couple of creepy puppet shows that I don't like looking at. At this point, Disney Channel was a far cry away from what we know and love. That is until 1997, when Disney Channel released their first original movie Under Wraps, a movie about 3 kids finding a mummy. Now, the movie itself may not have been that big, but its impact surely was, because the very next year, we will be introduced to Zoog Disney, their first attempt at capturing the audience of teens and tweens. And this new block will spark a whole new wave for the channel, with them releasing even more original movies that will go down as classics. And I cannot go without talking about Halloween Town, man. This movie has become a yearly tradition every Halloween. The cheesy yet charming vibes of this movie is immaculate, man. Of course, with new movies came brand new shows, such as In a Heartbeat, So Weird, and Jet Jackson. These new changes were showing the big success, and with that, they had no intention of slowing down. And with this new show, that would prove to be the best decision. Enter the year 2000 with Even Stevens, a show about a goofy little boy and his big-headed sister. The show was an instant hit, getting to last 3 seasons and even getting its own movie. Shia LaBeouf even got to win an Emmy for this. Like, that was making moves with this show, man. With the success of Even Stevens, Disney Channel went full force into this new era, the golden era.
So, the downside? Well, her visions aren't so clear. The upside? She has amazing friends. That's So Raven. Next, here on Disney Channel.
Enter the new age of Disney Channel. Say goodbye to the old stuff, puppets, get up out of here, and say hello to the new wave. With Disney buying ABC back in '96, they got access to some of the biggest shows of the 90s, man. That being Smart Guy, Sister Sister, and Boy Meets World. And in addition to that, Disney would continue to create original sitcoms. Sitcoms that would go on to become legendary childhood shows. That being Lizzie McGuire and The Proud Family. 2 shows about 2 preteen girls juggling school, friends, and family. These 2 shows will go on to become iconic in their own right, with Lizzie McGuire becoming the first it girl of Disney Channel, and The Proud Family becoming a staple in black culture. And they didn't stop there, because coming right after those was Kim Possible, arguably the biggest cartoon the channel has ever produced, and also being the show with the 2nd best theme song in Disney Channel history. First being Proud Family, of course. No debate. And Disney was not done with the changes just yet, because on September 30th, 2002, they will retire the Zoog brand, opting to instead make the content of that block Disney Channel's entire identity, with a whole new rebrand and a new logo. Disney was officially in a new era, the Bounce era, being named that by how the logo moved. The stars of their respective shows were now the face of the channel, doing talks and activities between commercial breaks. And these stars would also introduce the single most iconic thing in Disney Channel history, the wand IDs. Everybody who came up in this era was hitting their own little wand ID in their bedrooms, man, don't lie. In 2003, Disney Channel released the first new show of the rebrand, That's So Raven, man. What is there to say about Raven, man? From 03 to 07, this chick was Disney Channel. If you say otherwise, you're lying. That's So Raven is undoubtedly one of the best sitcoms they have ever created, man. The jokes still hold up to this day. And for that, Raven will always be known as the Queen of Disney Channel. Now, after Raven, they kept it going with Feel to the Future and The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, which is also one of the channel's greats. But I ain't gotta tell y'all that, y'all know that. Now, this is one of my personal favorites with iconic episodes like the Christmas episode, the superhero episode, the High School Musical episode, which we gonna get into in a little bit, be patient, and an episode so legendary it got left off Disney Plus, the Chris Brown episode. I remember watching this episode's premiere like it was yesterday, man. I was hyped. Stop playing to put this on Disney Plus, man. They even did a crossover episode with 2 of the most iconic Disney Channel shows at the time. First being That's So Raven, and the second being Disney Channel's juggernaut, Hannah Montana. Getting to premiere right after Disney's biggest movie, Hannah Montana instantly took over, man. Almost overnight, every little girl became a Hannah Montana super fan. With Hannah Montana birthday parties, Hannah Montana bikes, Hannah Montana cereal. This chick was everywhere, man. And with the assist of Hannah Montana, Miley got to start her own music career, which is nothing new. They've been doing this since Hilary Duff. In fact, it was well known at this point. If you have a show on the channel, you have a music career. Simple as that. The difference to Miley is, she was out here going platinum 3 times on 2 different records. The Hannah Montana brand was a whole different ball game, man. But that's enough of the shows. Let's get into the movies of this era. Starting off with the Cheetah Girls, both 1 and 2. Taking Raven Simone, 3LW, and this chick, and bringing them together to create a fictional group so big they became real. We also had the Lizzie McGuire movie, the Proud Family movie, Freaky Friday, Back to the Suburbs. How many of y'all actually remember this movie, man? You had Twitches, Wendy Wu, Cowbells, and the movie that took over the world, High School Musical, the first DCOM musical, and also the first DCOM to break 7.7 million viewers. A record only being broken by the second movie in the franchise, High School Musical 2, which came in at a whopping 17 million viewers. They ain't played no games with the third one, they went straight to the movie theaters. Man, if you wasn't there, you just don't get it. High School Musical wasn't just a movie, it was a moment in time. On January 25th, 2007, Disney Channel would reach a new era, the Ribbon Era. And with this new era came new segments, such as Disney's 365. A short 1-minute segment where the Disney stars play around in Disney World. We also had Pass the Plate, hosted by Brenda Song. The Time I segments where kids get to tell their stories, or so we thought, because they lied. And of course, what's a rebrand without new shows? We got yet another Disney juggernaut, Wizards of Waverly Place. A show that set itself apart from the rest by actually having overarching storylines, stakes, challenges. The show lasted 4 seasons with 106 episodes, making it the longest running Disney sitcom. Now for the longest running Disney show in general, that goes to Phineas and Ferb, clocking in at 160 episodes. Not only is Phineas and Ferb the best cartoon on Disney Channel, it is also the funniest. To this day, this show be having me cry laughing, man. We had The Sweet Life on Deck, the spinoff of Zack and Cody, Sunny with a Chance with Demi, Jonas with the Jonas Brothers, who both made their appearance on the channel with Camp Rock. Adding these 4 to their roster, Disney now had a whole team of singers on their channel, man. And it was only a matter of time before they had all of them collab on one song. And that song being the Friends for Change, Send It On in 2009. Now this wasn't the first time Disney had their stars collab on a song. The Circle of Stars existed years before this, but this one is by far the most cold. You got Selena coming in with her soft, smooth voice, the Jonas Brothers coming in with that emo twang, and of course Miley and Demi coming in with their powerhouse of a voice. This song was a moment in time, man. A moment in time you just cannot replicate. And of course, they did try with Bridget Miller, and although I love Bridget Miller, this ain't standing on. After that, they just changed the whole format to a game show with the Friends for Change games. But enough of Friends for Change, let's get into the movies of the Ribbon Era. You had Cheetah Girls 3, minus Raven for some reason. Twitches 2, Jump In, the most underrated Disney movie of all time. This movie needs some respect, man. We also had the Hannah Montana movie, the Wizards movie, Hatch and Pete, Minutemen, Camp Rock 2, and the last DCOM of the Ribbon Era, Good Luck Charlie. Now in my opinion, this is the best Disney Channel show of all time. The writing on this show is second to none. The characters, the jokes, the vibe, it all still carries to this day. I mean, they got their own movie. You can't get your own movie and not be popping. I honestly might make a Good Luck Charlie video in the future, man. Y'all tell me if I want to see that. With Good Luck Charlie making his debut, the Ribbon Era was put to rest. And in its place came the Round Square Era, also known as the beginning to the end. All of the big hitters from the past were now saying their final goodbye. And in their place came shows and movies that had some popularity like Jessie and Lemonade Mouth. But to compare them to the hitters of the past, there was no competition, man. We had to face it, man. The Disney Channel that we once knew was on its way out the door.
Hey you guys, I'm Dove Cameron from Descendants. And you're watching Disney Channel.
The new era was in full effect, and every legendary show that made the channel what it was had been long gone. Disney Channel was now a shell of its former self. Now they were doing something with their new big three, Austin and Ally, Jessie, and Good Luck Charlie, and even throwing out one more hit movie, Let It Shine, in 2012. A movie that is still loved to this day, and another piece of Disney media that is now ingrained in Black culture. But with the last generation of cable watchers growing up, these few success stories would not last long. Because when the new big three made their way out the door, the early 2000s kids went with them. And as a result, Disney Channel's viewership dwindled from averaging 2 million viewers in 2014 to plummeting down to 180,000 in 2022. The newer generation is just not watching cable anymore. And with Disney creating their own streaming service, opting to upload everything new there, I think it's safe to say Disney Channel is officially done. But for what they provided throughout the years, I say it was a good ride, man. A crazy run, in fact. From the 90s all the way to the early 2010s, Disney Channel had our childhood in the palm of their hands, giving us fond memories and classic shows and movies that will live on in our hearts forever. In the 40 plus years Nickelodeon has been around, we've seen countless shows go in and out of rotation. Some of them stick and go on to become iconic shows from our childhoods, while others get thrown off to the wayside. And you know, I don't like that, because some of these shows actually hit, and if given the proper chance, I feel like some of these shows will be in those conversations when we're talking about the most iconic shows from Nickelodeon. So that's what we're about to get into today, man. The world of forgotten Nickelodeon shows. Without further ado, let's get into it.
I pity her. I pity the horse whose hair she stole.
Premiering on January 14th, 2001, we got Taina, a show about a young chick going to a performance art school with her wacky group of friends. Sound familiar, don't it? I honestly believe Victoria's got their premise from this show, and can't nobody tell me different. Now, a few things this show did differently is that it was centered around urban, Puerto Rican, and black culture. And let me tell you, from somebody who grew up watching sitcoms from Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, man, this was so refreshing to see, bro. I don't know what it is, but we don't get to see a lot of urban settings that takes place in the culture. From the vernacular being used, to the friend groups always cracking on each other, from the music taking heavy inspiration from R&B, hip-hop, salsa, even with the special guests, bro. They had 3LW, Joe, Kelly Rowland, Shakira. They even had Lisa play Taina's mom. Like, this show is culture and I mess with it. Now, with that being said, I'm only 22, so I wasn't even born when the show came out, but I heard about it in a video and I wanted to go check it out. Turns out the whole series is on YouTube. All 26 episodes still there, so if you want to go check it out, go do it. But yeah, though, this show was good. Too good to be forgotten, the way it is. Like, I literally never heard anybody bring this show up. Nickelodeon don't ever bring this show up. And seeing how this show was only around for 1 year, they probably trying to forget it ever happened. I ain't gonna let that happen though. Taina gonna live on. I already made one Taina video, but expect some more in the future, man.
New shoes, you rule, you rule, new shoes.
Starring the young Emma Roberts, we have Unfabulous from 2004, a show about a little girl named Addie as she navigates junior high, writing songs about her experiences. Now what's crazy about this show is, although I was a fully aware and conscious little kid at the time, watching Nickelodeon on a daily basis, I have never heard about Unfabulous in my life, bro. And I'm just confused, cause like, how can this show slip through the cracks like that, bro? Like, I don't remember a single commercial, a single promo, like nothing for this show. I just heard about it like last year, 2 years ago. I can remember all of these weird shows. I remember when iCarly first premiered. I remember Just Jordan. Nobody remembers Just Jordan. I remember Just Jordan, but I can't remember Unfabulous, bro. What's up? Was Nickelodeon just not promoting this show like that back in the day? Or was it not airing like that on the main channel? I don't know. All I know is I have no recollection of this show existing at all. I can't be alone in this Unfabulous limbo, bro. Tell me in the comments, man, am I the only one who don't remember Unfabulous? Am I tripping?
Mommy, Bessie's in my room. Call the police.
Bro, I'm being so serious when I say that The Mighty B is one of Nickelodeon's best shows forgotten to time, man. From the jokes, to the timing, the art style, the characters, bro. Like, the fact that this show only got 2 seasons and just got thrown out afterwards is just ridiculous. Premiering in 2008, the show follows an optimistic 9-year-old Betsy Higginbottom and her goal to collect every Honeybee Scout badge possible. This show was always a good time whenever it came on, man. If I can compare the vibe to any show on Nickelodeon, it'd be early SpongeBob, seasons 1 to 3. Like, it has that level of silliness and charm to it. I truly feel like Nickelodeon did this show dirty, man. Cause it ain't like this show don't have moments that could've went down as iconic in Nickelodeon, man. Y'all remember the Rainbow Unicorn song? Tell me that wouldn't be something that people would still be singing to this day. It could've. But by this point, if it wasn't doing SpongeBob numbers, they did not care about it. This show got the fatal treatment of getting kicked off to Nicktoons and slowly fading its way out of people's minds. Shame on you, Nickelodeon. Mighty B deserved better.
You were singing here before. Sing now. I can't. Push her.
Just like Mighty B, Making Fiends got done dirty by Nickelodeon, but 10 times worse. In every way possible, oh my goodness. Making Fiends originally started off as a web series created by Amy Winfrey. The web series gained enough traction to where Nickelodeon found out about it and wanted the show on their channel. Making Fiends made its television debut on October 4th, 2008. And got canceled a month later after only 6 episodes, bro. 6! They didn't even give this show a chance, bro. They ain't even let it breathe. And it's not even like they hyped it up and was disappointed by the numbers. I don't even remember seeing any promo for this show. I saw 1 episode on Nicktoons and that was it. With no hype around it, the show was doomed before it even started. And that's not even the crazy part, bro. Nickelodeon still holds the rights to the show. So Amy Winfrey can't even do nothing with her own creation. Crazy. Now the whole series is available to watch on YouTube, so if you want to check it out, be my guest.
Naked Brothers Band Season 2 is available now on DVD.
Originally starting off as a movie in 2005 before turning into a full series in 2007. The Naked Brothers Band is a mockumentary style show following brothers Alex and Nat Wolff in their lives as teenage rock stars. Now, if y'all anything like me, then y'all was thrown off by the name too, because why? And I'm gonna be real, that is the one and only reason why I never watched this show. The name was weird, man. But although the title was weird, the music was not, because they was actually out here making hits, man. I'll stand to say If That's Not Love is one of the catchiest songs that come out of Nickelodeon, man. Other than the music, the show went on for 3 years, spanning from 2007 to 2009. Only getting canceled because the show's schedule was messing with the kids' schooling. Now with 3 seasons, you'd think I'll be able to catch at least one episode. No, it never really felt like they was that aggressive with the show's promo. And whenever I did catch it on TV, I just changed the channel. And if you look at the internet discourse about this show, it seems like I'm not the only person who didn't care about it, because nobody talks about it. But I might be wrong though. We'll see from this video how many people still remember the Naked Brothers Band, man.
We're being held captive, but we don't mind. Right, friends?
Don't just walk around like you can hear me. I said get your butt to the counter now.
True Jackson VP, man. Finally. It been like, what, a month since I said I was about to do this video, man? That's crazy. But True Jackson, man, a show about a 15-year-old girl who gets hired on the spot as VP of a high-end fashion company. The show dropped in 2008, a year after iCarly, and instantly got pushed to the side, man. I mean, don't get me wrong, it got love, but compared to the Dan Schneider shows, I swear, man, if the show ain't made by Dan Schneider, it's instantly getting pushed to the back burner, man. Nickelodeon ain't give her the proper love, man. It's alright, we're gonna do it here. Cause I truly feel like this show was in the lane of its own, man. With its characters, story, and vibe. True Jackson is truly underrated. And in this video, we're gonna give this show the proper love it deserves, man. Without further ado, let's get into it.
I've got a plan. Is it a good one? Nope.
Now, usually with every popular Nickelodeon show, all their characters usually follow a certain archetype. You got the straight man, the weirdo, the geek, the bully, the cool dude, and the stupid one. And although True Jackson is not opposed to these archetypes, they handle it in a way that makes it unique and stand out. For instance, let's start off with the title character herself, man, True Jackson, who can be considered the straight man of the series. But with that, she's also the kindest person you will ever see on Nickelodeon. I'm being for real, man. And I'm not talking cartoonish kind like with sunshine and rainbows all around her. I mean, she's genuinely kind, compassionate, thoughtful, forgiving, well-spoken, and well-mannered. Like, this chick was raised right, man. And she's often told that what she has is luck. Like, there's no way that she can just acquire these great things on her own. When in reality, that couldn't be further from the truth. People who move in this type of energy naturally attract great opportunities, naturally attract people around them. People like Lulu, True's best friend. Lulu's also a break from the mold, because if you just look at her on the surface, you would think she's the dumb character of the group, being easily distracted, bringing up random things that hold no weight to the conversation. But the more you watch, the more you figure out that this chick is a literal genius, man. Like, this chick got straight A's in school, man. She's an honor student. She gets taught stocks, instantly masters it. She becomes an accountant, clears the work. She even figured out an equation nobody qualified to could solve. Genius. Thing about Lulu is, yes, she's a genius, but she's also very simple-minded. She proves time and time again that she can do the work, but 9 times out of 10 she lollygags, and it makes her come off as very irresponsible. Now, somebody who's just straight up irresponsible is Ryan. He could be considered the weird one of the show. Ryan is the wild, typical dude friend of the group. If you came to the show looking for gross-out humor, he's your dude. He's your guy. Ryan is really the only one where there's not too much to him. Like, what you see is what you get for real. I mean, he'll occasionally have his passions like skateboarding, computer design, females. Other than the female part, the rest of those just fade away. The next person we have is Amanda. Now, Amanda is straight up the bully of the show. From the first scene she shows up in, she lets it be known that she does not like True. This chick is stank, uptight, and bougie all the way around, man. Now, as the show goes on, she does get less mean, more caring, and eventually becoming someone that True could come to for advice whenever she needs it. Another person who could fill that role of advisor is Max, the owner of Mad Styles. Now, Max is Kind of weird, but I already used weird, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna use it again. Because he is a little weird, man. But he's also very spontaneous, shown by when he just hired True on the spot after only talking to her for like 15 seconds. Max is the definition of I do what I want because I can. If he want to fire somebody just for existing, he gonna do it. But like I said earlier, what comes with that spontaneousness is also a very loving and understanding person, being the main one everybody comes to for advice and life lessons. Next we got Oscar, who's the other straight man of the show, because everybody else got a gimmick to him while Oscar is just sitting there in the middle of the office and just gotta deal with everybody else's mess. So, and last but not least we got Jay. I mean, his name ain't Jay, but I forgot it, so it's Jay today. Now, Jay's the cool dude of the show, man. And he's also Max's nephew and True's main love interest of the show.
Bro's a proud drummer of a band nobody knows about, and also has a weird obsession with Mel.
Now, outside of the main cast, we do have our side characters, like Mikey J, who's Lulu's boyfriend. He weird, little bit, you know what I'm saying? But he a cool dude. Then we got Kelsey, who just stank, bro. Like, I can't stand her attitude, man. You know, something this show does that I love is that it lets its characters grow, but in a subtle way. Like, they don't outright tell you that this person changed, this is what happened to this character. Like, you just see it throughout the show that, oh, they used to do this, now they doing this, now they starting to do this. Like, it's a gradual change, and I love that. Like, for instance, I already said Amanda becomes more caring, but also True becomes more abrasive throughout her time working at Mad Styles. Lulu becomes more responsible as True's assistant. This show truly knows how to treat their characters, truly knows how to make them unique and stand out. And when you have a unique cast, you could put them in stories that might be typical of a Nickelodeon show and still have it stand out because it's the characters that we care about. But speaking of the stories,
Hey, that's my story. Oh, yeah.
the story of True Jackson is a story of perseverance. In the beginning, we start off with a happy-go-lucky True, ecstatic to have a high-end job, working for one of the biggest fashion brands in the world. She's walking around in that place like any kid would, happy-go-lucky, thinking everything's all fun and games, and completely naive. But that naiveness quickly fades as she gets hit with a heavy workload and co-workers who constantly belittle her. And for a moment, she's ready to give up. But then, just moments before quitting, she manages to do what she does best, and that's use her mind, change her perspective, and pushes through, giving us our first glimpse of her perseverance. And throughout the series, she's shown time and time again being faced with a challenge and pushing through no matter what. She gets faced with something that seems impossible to everybody else, and she makes it happen. Now, although she does these things, she's not perfect. She's shown time and time again failing. But what makes her a character to root for is that she gets back up. It's with this type of resolve and perseverance that you see her level up over time, getting to work on a project she dreamt of for years, creating her very own scent of perfume, and through her feats becoming a celebrity in the fashion world. All of this leading up to the series finale, where Max hands over the company to True, making her the new owner of Mad Styles. The story of True Jackson shows that with a kind heart, direct intentions, a creative mind, and a spirit of perseverance, anything is possible. I just turned into a picture, man. Let's move to the next part.
Excuse me, sir. Can I get a beat?
When I turn on the episode of True Jackson, the first thing I notice is his bright and bubbly nature. Like, it just got that fun and wholesome vibe to it, man. Unlike them Dan Schneider shows that just be mean-spirited for no reason. And when I say wholesome, I mean you can tell all of these characters truly care about each other. Like, nobody walks around with pure ill intent. Except for Amanda, of course. And Max, but only the co-woman. But besides that, this is by far the most wholesome live-action Nick show I've ever seen. And as for the fun and bubbly side of the vibes, mainly coming from the set, with the lighting being the first thing I noticed. This is the only show on Nickelodeon that looked like this, with the lighting more resembling a soap opera than anything. Also with the colors of the set being a bright spring shade that gives off a cool and welcoming vibe. And with spring being a sign of new beginnings, they truly couldn't have picked a better show to use this type of aesthetic. And it's wild that even the guest stars match the vibe of the show. With Lil Justin Bieber, Natasha Bedingfield, even Care Bears on fire. Y'all remember them? Matter of fact, don't answer it. I already know you don't. I already know. On August 20th, 2011, Nickelodeon would air the final episode of True Jackson. And with the show going off air, everybody's memory of it slowly started to fade. But True Jackson did leave a legacy behind her with a real-life Mad Styles clothing brand, sold exclusively at Walmart, and one of the best theme songs to ever come out of Nickelodeon. It's literally top 5, and it ain't 4 or 5. Another Nickelodeon theme song that's up there with True is Taina. You don't know what Taina is? 2001, Nickelodeon blessed us with a short little Latina chick named Taina. In the very next year, they took her away from us. It's crazy how they did her. But Taina, man, a fun little early 2000 show about a little chick from New York trying to get famous while going to a school that's known for honing talent. It's a short and sweet premise. Such a sweet premise, in fact, that Nickelodeon decided to do the same exact thing 9 years later. Crazy. Hey man, I love Victorious, but I cannot lie, bro. Victorious is for real just Taina for the suburbs. That's it, bro. But as I was saying, although it might be a short, sweet, simple premise, it's about how you handle that premise to make it its own thing and make it unique. And I personally feel Taina did just that with its characters, its music, and most importantly, its vibe. Let's talk about why Taina is Nickelodeon's underrated gem that desperately needs more love. Let's get into this video. Behind every one of your favorite shows is a strong cast with a strong lead and good supporting characters. And Taina is no different. Personally, this is one of my favorite groups of characters to come out of Nickelodeon. We got, of course, the main character Taina, her best friend Renee, the goofy duo Danny and Lamar, and Maritza, who was the best character, but we're gonna get into that in a little bit. Now Taina, she's a fun character for me because unlike most Nickelodeon main characters, Taina got a big head. In the first episode, this chick walk up into school thinking she is the top dog. Like in her head, she really do think she is the best of the best and she is just waiting on her moment to shine. It takes her getting hit with a reality check from one of her teachers that you really ain't like that yet. You got ways to go. And from then on, she takes that life lesson with her and continues to grow. While still being a bit big-headed at times, it's contrasted with her big heart and her love for her friends and family, which is also a commendable thing about Taina, man. The loving family dynamic. They ain't never malicious towards each other. She ain't never shown being outright disrespectful to none of her elders. And for some reason, that's a rarity with Nickelodeon. I don't know what's up with Nickelodeon, specifically Dan Schneider's obsession with making disrespectful kids and families who basically hate each other. You see a lot with they shows, so seeing Taina's dynamic is definitely a breath of fresh air. And speaking of a breath of fresh air, let's talk about her best friend, Renee. Now, Renee is more of a comedic type character with majority of what comes out of her mouth being either a joke or her just cracking on somebody. She a fun little energetic chick that can always bring a good laugh, man. A fun attitude that is almost identical to Keke Palmer. Like the way they act, their mannerisms, the way they sound is so similar. It's almost like Keke Palmer just copy and paste her whole personality from Renee. Just watch this and tell me if I'm lying.
$6,000? For $6,000, you can tie me to a skateboard, strap a sledgehammer to my head, and call me your battle bot baby. $6,000, I am in. Woo! $6,000, all right.
Other than that though, Renee is really just a fun, ride-or-die friend that's ready to get into any type of mess her friend is ready to put her through. You can't ask for more than that for real, man. Now as for Danny, I'm gonna be real, there's not too much to Danny, man. Danny is gifted with instruments. You give him any instruments, there's 9 times out of 10, he knows how to play it. Other than that though, there's not too much to him. He's kind-hearted, he could be a little goofball at times, but there's nothing like specifically about Danny that I could just point out and be like, that's him. That's his standout characteristic. The most I could give him is probably being the most serious when it comes down to business. But other than that, there's not too much to him unless he's with Lamar. Now, Lamar is the person that you could put more in the goofy category because they always got this dude in a goofy little situation, man. Whether that be his back and forth with Renee, the jobs him and Danny get into, or if it's just him sitting there. Like he really don't got to be doing nothing for them to get on him, man. But on the other side of it, Lamar's the director. So if anybody needs guidance on what to do or what to say, things of that nature, he the one they call. And although he gets dogged on most of the time, he really is just a kind-hearted character, you know what I'm saying? But I would say he's the most selfless person out of the group. That same thing cannot be said about the next character, and my favorite character, Maritza. Now, Maritza is the diva of the show. Uptight, over the top, glamour and all, man. She got Taina's big head times 10. And speaking of her dynamic with Taina, she will never not let you know that although Taina could sing, she could
sing. There's a difference.
And although she's quote unquote the mean girl of the series, she's never fully taken in that direction. She's more of a frenemy than anything. They never take her into the full antagonistic route. Rather, they play with her over-the-top nature for laughs, and in doing so, created the funniest character to come out of this show. And when these characters get around each other, their chemistry is unmatched. They just bring a unique feel that you just don't get from Nickelodeon like that, man. A unique feel that could only be described as real, specifically on the urban aspect and the people that come from there. Just first speaking on the casting aspect, like these ain't just actors that they chose to portray New Yorkers. Like these are actually people from New York playing these characters. And as for the characteristics they portray, man, I can't tell you how calming these characteristics are in an urban environment. Like I grew up around a Maritza. I grew up around a Taina Renee. I grew up around a Danielle Lamar. And although slightly exaggerated, real is what describes these characters. And that's what also describes the music. Let's get into this next part. Now, usually with Nickelodeon shows or just kids shows in general, they'll have songs in their shows that's like catchy, nostalgic, get you vibing just a little bit, but it's never something that you would actually like want to listen to in your car or something. Here's where Taina changes the game, because I can actually hear a lot of these songs from Taina on the radio. The music in Taina usually ranges from R&B, salsa, hip hop, slightly a little bit of pop. Sometimes they might just mix all the genres together to get something a little more unique. Most of the songs from this show usually come from Taina just daydreaming up a performance off of whatever topic they was talking about at that time or the theme of the episode. With this formula, we got some alright songs such as Toe to Toe, Good Times, Carnival, with Good Times resembling more of a 90s feel, while Carnival is more like a bouncy salsa cheetah girls type thing, you know what I'm saying? Then we got the gems of the bunch like Feel Good, Loving You, Boogie, Loving You being my personal favorite song from the show. This song just got that late 90s Monica Brandy vibe, man. It's a fun, upbeat jam that I can easily see on the radio blasting through somebody's mama car, man. But although we had all these good songs to come out of this daydream sequence, there was one that's just irredeemable, and that's the Halloween song. I hate this song. This is horrible. The beat is suffering, bro. Other than the daydreaming sequences, we do get songs where they just straight up perform, such as Maritza's I'm in Love With Me, which has a feel-good, upbeat type of vibe to it. She even got a song on the soundtrack, which I'm disappointed it didn't make it into the show, because this song is ridiculous. We also got the Friendship song, which is performed on the series finale, where we also find out something crazy about Lamar. I ain't gonna spoil it for anybody who wanna watch it, but when you hear it, it's ridiculous. And finally, the song with Maritza, Taina, and Renee, which has more of a Destiny Child vibe to it. Then we have the songs that's performed with actual music groups like 3LW, who make an appearance in the second episode of the first season. And we also got Kelly Rowland featured in the music video of That We Were Friends song, which was one of the two songs produced by Full Force. The other song being Feels Good. Full Force having a hand in the Taina soundtrack makes sense considering that Lisa plays Taina's mother. And that's one of the main things I love about Taina's music, bro. It's culture. Like, you're not getting too much of this in Nickelodeon, especially not nowadays. And if you do, it's corny. But Taina, for the most part, managed to stay out of the corny zone, bringing us music that not only feels fun, but also has soul to it. And that's the key theme to Taina's music. Unlike everything else on Nickelodeon, Taina's music has soul to it. A soul that's backed by passion. It's just fun and sometimes beautiful music that lends itself to creating a certain type of vibe for Taina, man. And speaking of a vibe, the vibe of Taina could best be described as authentic. From the friendships to the family dynamics to the music, nothing feels forced like they doing too much. Even with the laughter in the background, which is not a laugh track but a live studio audience. So when something is actually funny, you're gonna hear them laughing. And when it ain't funny, you won't hear them. Which sometimes can come off a little weird, but it's real. From the laughs to the sad sides, it's all real. And sometimes I see the show being compared to something like That's So Raven, where they say the humor is very similar. But I'll take that comparison even further, saying that Taina is another show with that black 2000s aesthetic. Now, if you need me to break down exactly what is the 2000s black aesthetic, I made a video on it a couple months ago. you could go check that out. But the aesthetic that Taina brings with the warm colors of the set, the raw vocal ranges of Taina and Maritza, and that warm home feeling that this show brings. Even with the camera angles of Taina has very unique camera angles and shots that you really won't see happen in any other sitcoms. And all of these parts of the aesthetic comes together to create a certain vibe and gives this show a unique character. And speaking of character, I want to bring up my favorite scene in Taina, which is the last scene of the first episode where they sing the acoustic version of the theme song. It starts off with Danny playing the guitar, then Taina comes in and starts singing the lyrics. And one by one, more and more people start joining in, singing, playing bongos. Somebody else comes in with another guitar. Maritza starts singing. Before you know it, the whole crowd is singing. This scene perfectly encapsulates everything I just mentioned about this show, with the realness of the characters, the soul of the music, and the authentic vibe that this show brings. Now, me personally, I'm only 20 years old, about to be 21 in a couple days. So I wasn't even born when the show came out. But years later, I found it, started watching, and from that scene, I immediately got hooked. Even watching the show with my niece and nephews and getting them hip to it. And now they sing along to the theme song anytime they hear it. The show has something special to it. It had a certain vibe to it that is just undeniable, man. Sadly, Nickelodeon didn't see that. Hence why the show only lasted a year and a half. Hopefully, y'all could go see it. And y'all can feel that same vibe that I feel and my nieces and nephews feel when we watch Taina. I recently held a tournament on Instagram to let my viewers rank the best Nickelodeon live-action theme songs. Here's the results. Before we get into this ranking, make sure you follow My Childish Nature on IG so you can be there live when we're actually doing these battles. One more disclaimer. Before y'all get mad at these rankings, remember, y'all picked these. It ain't me. Don't get mad at me. You did this, alright? That being said, man, let's get into these rankings. Starting off with C tier theme songs. First theme song going in C tier, Naked Brothers Band. Now I don't think that's too controversial. People just they ain't like the theme song. I like it. I don't like the show, but I like the theme song though. The show was a little boring to me as a kid. I ain't never really liked shows that they ain't have no laugh track. So any show without a laugh track wasn't it for me. But the theme song to this show was hard. The one that's going up against all of these is understandable why it's last place, man. Next one might not be so understandable, man. Next one is Zoe 101. Oh, Zoe 101 went against all that. TLC did all that. TLC versus some little 13-year-old little girl singing her own little theme song. They don't compare. Next show for C tier, Unfabulous. This is one of them I could completely understand. This theme song could get annoying. It's catchy for sure, but after a while it can get annoying. So I get it. Next pick, All Hell Gonna Break Loose. Now Drake and Josh went against Kenan and Kel, so that's could have went either way for real. Surprisingly, it didn't though. It was a landslide win. Kenan and Kel swept that win, man. Drake and Josh ain't had no competition. They had no chance. It's for real surprising though, seeing how many people loved the Drake and Josh theme song, myself included. Next C tier, Victorious. Victorious went against iCarly. Yeah. All right, moving on to B tier. We had Kenan and Kel versus All That. Coolio cannot compete with TLC. Coolio cannot compete. Next, B tier, Big Time Rush. Big Time Rush went against, I forgot, let me go check. Big Time Rush went against iCarly. iCarly is a different breed, understandable. Me personally, I'm not even crazy about the theme song. I like the show. I used to like the show a little bit. I never been crazy about the theme song though. I always been saying, man, if the song Boyfriend was their theme song, that's a completely different story. Big Time Rush is at A tier at the least, S at best. Matter of fact, if we want to go further, man, I will put Naked Brothers Band theme song over Big Time Rush every day of the week. No debate. Don't care what nobody got to say. Next in B tier, Shrews X and VP. Now this is one of them I completely disagree with. Matter of fact, I would say this theme song is easily S tier. This is one of the best theme songs Nickelodeon ever made. And I'm gonna stick with that. It's too catchy. It's too fun. It's too catchy. It's hard to compete with that. Our last pick in B tier, Sam and Cat. Sam and Cat went against Romeo of all things. It's crazy the fact that Romeo won that battle, despite the fact that nobody watched that show. Crazy, but hey, y'all do y'all. Y'all do y'all. Now we are in the A tiers, the top tier Nickelodeon theme songs. First going in, Romeo. I'm honestly surprised Romeo made this. This is a mind blow that Romeo made it this far, but he did. He sure indeed did. And ain't nothing else to say to it. Let's just continue. Next is Cousin Skeeter, the show that nobody remember, man. But the theme song is hard to forget. It's a remix on some 90s song, but it's a hard remix. The quality of the Cousin Skeeter show can always be debated. The theme song quality, you cannot debate that theme song. I can't even be mad at it. Can't even be mad at the placement. The final three is crazy. But the problem with this is it can only be one S tier. So that means Taina. Taina got A tier. Taina is another forgotten Nickelodeon show that gets held up by its theme song alone, man. People may not remember the show, but all you got to do is play those first 5 seconds of that theme song. It's gonna snap people's memories right back, man. I ain't even gotta explain myself on Taina, man. Y'all wanna see what I gotta feel about Taina? Go watch the Taina video. That's all I gotta say. The final show in A tier, man. We got All That versus iCarly. That is a difficult It really ain't. It really ain't. And with that, you already know it's an S. You already know it's an S. You can't compete with TLC, man. I ain't got no issue with that placement. You can't compete with TLC. But there you have it, man. The viewers have spoken. This is the official theme song tier list for the live action Nickelodeon series, man.
Welcome to the kingdom.
2000s commercials. There was just something about their advertising back then that made it so special and memorable. From the cereal commercials to the toy commercials, all the way to the insurance commercials. They knew how to get your attention back in the day, man. I mean, you gotta know you're doing a good job when you got a whole generation looking back at advertising as a good part of their childhood, man. And although everybody brings these commercials up as memorable and iconic pieces of our childhood, I want to bring up an aspect that I feel like doesn't get talked about at all. And that's the aesthetics. The look, sound, and vibe that these commercials bring is what I feel truly brings them to the iconic status. So today, that's exactly what we're gonna be talking about, man. The aesthetics of 2000s commercials. Let's get into this video, man. The look of 2000s commercials is something that's truly unforgettable. Bold fonts, bright colors, and logos with actual personality to them. The commercials back then were still riding off the coattails of the 90s. So you still had a lot of that 90s vibe to them, like those close-up angles, the weird over-the-top antics, and those fast-paced cuts that kept your kid's self glued to the screen. The candy and cereal commercials was really going crazy with this type of editing. Commercials like Gushers, Trix, Airheads, Captain Crunch, their main objective was to be as weird, bouncy, and colorful as possible, man. But the kid commercials, while still being colorful, took a more story-based approach. Whether it would be action-packed or just a fun adventure. Those sketch commercials being the main ones that pop in my head when I think about the action-packed. I remember rocking Skechers specifically because of these commercials as a kid, man. Of course, the adventure commercials, Fruit Loops, and Goldfish. These was for real like mini shows in the middle of you watching your actual show, man. And if getting you to beg your parents for whatever you just seen on the screen was their main objective, I say they did that successfully, man. But then on the other hand, you'll have commercials that wasn't doing as much, but still kept that weird aspect to them. They may not have been as loud and colorful, but seeing a fish on the wall start singing to you, or Water Money with googly eyes just staring at you, wasn't out the question. Some of these commercials wouldn't even have dialogue going on. They'll most likely have a normal situation with all ball characters and some goofy music in the background. But speaking of all ball characters, I cannot go without mentioning one of the pivotal things that made these brands and commercials so recognizable, and that's the mascots. Some 2D animated, some 3D, some live action. No matter what format they came in, they all managed to give their brand a specific look and style that stayed with all 2000s kids even to this day. Whether it was the courageous and uplifting Toonie Tiger, the too cool for school Chuck E. Cheese, or the psychotic Cinnamon Toast Crunch Squares, and every human in the Pop-Tart commercials. These commercials was actually crazy. But we ain't care. With these commercials mostly rocking a summer color palette, some light, some bright, They gave off a vibe that was simply unmatched, but a vibe that couldn't be completed without the sound. Now when I mention the sound of 2000s commercials, the first thing that pop in your head is the jingles.
800-588-2300 Empire.
Today,
they had the jingles on lock during this time, man. From the Chuck E. Cheese commercials
Chuck E. Cheese's, where a kid can be a kid.
to the Band-Aid commercial.
Iron stuck on Band-Aid brand, his Band-Aid stuck on me.
Even the infomercials had it on lock, man. They created these short and simple, catchy jingles that users can't help but sing along to, man. These jingles had such a happy nature to them, a nature of fun and timelessness that just made them unforgettable. But not only were the jingles unforgettable, a lot of the songs in these commercials stuck as well. I already mentioned the Filet-O-Fish song, which is iconic, but then we got the Reese's Puffs commercial, the Zoo Pal commercial, the $5 footlong commercials, the Fanta commercial. All these songs had such a feeling of effortlessness to them. Like they didn't have to try to make them hit. They just hit, especially the Reese's Puffs commercials. Those are classics. But while these commercials cut us with their songs, some just catch us what they're saying. Like Can You Hear Me Now from Verizon, You Limp Ligger from Orbit, which is one of my favorite lines to this day, man. And the iconic What's Up commercials. You can just randomly hear somebody say any of these lines to this day, and you know exactly what they're talking about, man. But when it comes to talking about the sound of these 2000 commercials, there's two that comes to mind that is undeniable 2000s classics: Education Connection and CreditReport.com. I don't think there's a single 2000s kid who doesn't remember these two commercials, man. They were low budget and they came out of nowhere, but when they showed up on your screen, they took over, man. And what these songs have is very similar to most of these sounds of the 2000 commercials, man. And that's charm, charisma. They created moments with these songs and jingles without even trying. They wasn't trying to recreate a moment they had in the past like they is nowadays, man. They was just going with what worked. They was just going off of creativity and fun moments. And when you combine all of that with the look, you get a unique vibe that only these 2000 commercials can bring. The vibe of 2000s commercials. Heartwarming. Yes, I caught it. Pure fun. Yes, sleep-inducing. There are many aspects to these commercials, but if I had to use one word to describe them as a whole, would be caring. And no matter what they was putting together, the commercials always came with a certain level of care to them. And with that care, they let their creativity flourish. If they wanted you to see kids' heads turn into fruit, then that's exactly what you was about to see. If they wanted to craft an overarching story, spanning across multiple commercials, then that's exactly what you was about to see. And the main thing I love about this is that it shows that they were not scared to try different things. They were gonna do whatever came to mind. And whatever that thing was, they were gonna make sure it perfectly encapsulated who they were targeting. If their audience was kids, then of course they're using bright summer colors, bouncy and animated characters. If they're targeting adults, of course they're gonna use a more grounded situation. What happened in the middle of that situation, spontaneous, but it's grounded. And to put the music and jingles on top of that, just made for the perfect storm. It seems like somewhere along the way, that creativity was left behind, and they mostly just tried to recreate what they had before. And with this being the situation nowadays, it only makes these older commercials more magical, more fun, and more spontaneous than ever. Cause just with the look, sound, and vibe, these 2000s commercials managed to catch a whole generation.